Okay. Good evening, everyone. Today is August 19th, 2025. It is 5 o'clock p.m. We are at the Cape Canaveral City Council Workshop Meeting located at the City Hall Council Chambers, 100 Polk Avenue in Cape Canaveral, Florida. I call this meeting to order. And with that, I'd like to ask our new city manager to please lead us in the pledge.
Be my pleasure. Please join me in saying the pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. City Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Davis.
Here.
Councilmember Jackson.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Kellum.
Here.
Mayor Morrison.
Here.
And Councilmember Willis.
Here.
All 5 council members are here. Thank you, and thank you to the city staff and everyone who's joining us here today. At this time, we have public participation. This is our workshop meeting before our 6 o'clock p.m. regular city council meeting. Tonight's workshop is in regards to the proposed fiscal year 25-26 budget and 5-year capital improvement plan. If you do intend to speak, we do ask that you fill out a card, but in workshop fashion, if you do want to speak, you can come forward. And we do try to leave a little bit of time at the end, if possible, to have any follow-up comments after you hear the council discuss. I don't anticipate us taking any formal action here within this meeting, but as we head into the schedule with the budget, we will continue to host the public hearings and follow the process with state law and our city code and charter. So with that, if anyone intends to speak, please come forward. Okay. Seeing no public comment, we'll go ahead and close public participation for now and bring it back to the one item discussion for the budget. Before doing so, council, I think it might be helpful that our city manager or director, if he chooses, gives us a brief overview of the budget and maybe highlight some of the changes from our last meeting. Council, is that okay? Mr. City Manager.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mayor. Can you hear me? I don't know about the distance to the microphone up here. So as you know, July 29th special council meeting, the council adopted the resolution 25-07 establishing a tentative millage rate of combined millage rate of 3.24. And we also discussed reducing the city's reserve policy from the 20% to the 16.7%. And you have the proposed budget in front of you that reflects that conversation. So to get deeper into what we've done since then, I'd like to have our finance director, John DeLeo, go into more detail. John?
Okay, hello, council. So basically, the memo that Joey has handed to y'all is a compilation of what's happened since 29 July to attain the rollback rate, and it also comprises the taking the unobligated reserve from 20% to 16.7. Are these mics on?
No,
Could you hear me? I don't hear myself.
they're not on.
It doesn't
Testing 1, 2.
There you go.
Testing. Could,
I think it's picking up, it seems like.
testing. Okay. It just seems like I'm.
Closer. Get closer.
So what this memo comprises of, it shows you the effect of the changes on the revenue, the department reductions, and as Joey and I were directed to see what we can additionally cut, not only with capital projects, but this also contains a few operating expenditure lines as we go through those, and it'll show you just a complete orderly process of what was added, what was subtracted, and then we even included, not that we needed to, but you know, just to show council the wastewater and stormwater fund. However, they're not part of the general fund, but we did go ahead and do that for you. And then we did a summary on the last page for rollback, then the rollback revenues, what they turned out to be after all the adjustments, and then the budget totals. So we can go through the line items just to refresh your memory. If Joey, you could, if you want to, you could go ahead and just kind of read some of the revenue changes, the impact of the ad valorem revenue from that point to 1.4 million to get to the rollback rate, and then just continue on down if council has any questions.
Okay. So I will basically just read down the memo. Let me know if you have any questions. So I'll start with the revenue changes. By taking the millage rate down from the proposed to the rollback rate, we have lost $1,458,000 in ad valorem revenue. Also, we've increased the use of reserves from an original $747,000 to $926,000. So we increased the use of reserves by $178,000. And by decreasing the ad valorem or the millage rate, we then transfer less money from the general fund to the CRA, so that the money transferred to the CRA decreased by $359,000. And additionally, a revenue we changed was we corrected the EV charging revenue down from the original high estimate to a new about $5,000 estimate. Are there any questions on any of those revenue changes?
Council, any questions for Joey? And I just want to really, don't want to get too far on this meeting. Are we certain this is picking up? I think I heard some of the council members say they can't hear. Should we pause and just confirm
There
Now,
you
there's-
go. Testing 1, 2. Yep, there it is.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Council, any questions for Finance Department? Joey working through the changes? Please proceed.
Okay. The next part of this memo is the department reductions. The Resiliency Department, they have taken out $4,000 of expenses in GIS licenses, a couple $100 in their conference expenses. The Community Economic Development Department has taken a couple $100 out of their conference expenses. So now the large pieces we've taken out of the budget are, we've taken out the City Hall air conditioner. That was $325,000. Additionally, we've reduced the City Hall outside maintenance by $3,000 and buildings and grounds maintenance by another $1,000. The PRCA changes, we've cut some CIPs or moved them out. The Manatee Sanctuary Park upgrades for $19,000 has been moved out. The batting cage, pitching machine, CIP for $10,000 has been moved out. The Ridgewood crossover and memorial pavers has been moved out. So I'll go on to the next page now. The non-departmental fund, we have reduced the renewal and replace expense by $10,000. We've taken out the Cocoa Beach fireworks expense, which was $5,000, and we've reduced our miscellaneous expenses by $3,000. And then the largest changes were the changes in ARPA money transferred from the general fund to the stormwater fund, which in essence saves the general fund expenses. So by reducing the Canaveral drainage basin, Thurm Boulevard improvements, and Long Point Road retention, by each of those $250,000, $300,000, and $150,000, we save that $700,000 of expenses in the general fund. Additionally, there has been changes. Expenses have increased since the last proposed budget. They have increased by 146,000. It does seem like a lot. There is a detailed breakdown of what it was. There were a few positions, part-time and seasonal, that were just not captured originally. And then additionally, the positions that we have officially signed, the expenses have been higher than what they were originally budgeted for, as well as updating some workers' compensation. So some of those personnel expenses have increased since the last time. But the net in the general fund is we reduced, in order to get from the original proposed budget to the current rollback rate, we basically had to find $1.1 million, which we have done.
And we could stop there because that's the whole effect on the general fund. If council, later on, once council makes comments on this, if they want to, they could read the library fund, CRA fund, but those aren't the funds that are in question. And those not the things you've read are the things that had to be adjusted to get to the rollback rate.
Thank you. I just want to clarify, under this section, personnel expenses, the increase in $146,000 total.
Yes, I have a breakdown of each of them. I can go over each line to give a better understanding of what happened.
Well, I think that will be helpful. The first bullet there, just as an example, resiliency analyst, negative 34,000. Is that stating that?
What that is all of those amounts, they're not negatives.
That's a dash.
Oh,
Yes,
Yeah, that's a dash.
yes.
That makes more sense.
Yeah, it looks a little different because of but that's a dash, so.
Okay.
and the personnel expense in parentheses, that's a positive, hence with the, okay.
Correct. The expense went up.
And so if we add those up, will that equal 146,000? Is that?
That is
okay?
correct.
That's all I had for now. Thank you. Council, any other questions at this point on the general fund explanation? Councilmember Jackson.
Okay, and I just want to get clarification so I understand, because in the last budget workshop in the PRCA, we talked about cutting out Rover Space West, but we're cutting out Manatee Park upgrades, and I thought that one was one that was pretty important with what they needed. So
I could explain that if you want.
okay, thank you.
Okay, so the dynamics involved were that based on what had transpired, based on the personal expense increases and how all the numbers came together, it left us 200 and about 30, and Joey, you could jump in if you want, $236,000 where we had Rover, we were going to do Rover Park, but we had $236 we were out of bed. So to get the numbers straight between, for that, 146, yeah. So what we had to do is basically come up with that additional money. So we had to take the bigger project, the 325, and we put the Rover back in, because if we just took Rover, we'd still be looking for, what was it, Joey, if we took Rover out, if we didn't take the air conditioner out and we took Rover out, we would have fell short by what, 100 and some K or something? Or what was it, 56K?
Basically, in order to balance the budget, we ended up having to take out the air conditioner, which was a large expense. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been able to piece the CFPs
Right,
together.
what I'm just saying, I want council just to know what the difference was, is because we took out the air conditioner and we put Rover back in, because then we were balanced. So
So it'd be
this,
146.
146.
And 325, whatever that difference is.
Okay.
Okay,
do
and in
something.
that last meeting, we had discussed the Long Point project.
Yes.
And that came
That
back
came
into
out.
the budget.
No, that's out.
That, meaning we got that money put back into our available funds because.
That's correct.
We can't do that project.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that is including that in this?
That's
Is that
correct.
correct? Okay. So what my concern is, what were the Manatee Park upgrades? Because I'm worried about Manatee Park because I know we have maintenance over there that needs to be done.
What the original upgrades were, we
Mm-hmm.
could look in the workbook for you and tell you. Yeah, just a second.
Page 117.
Thank you. Page 117. Okay.
Of the budget book?
So,
Yes. So
It's-
that was picnic tables and some,
right.
in pavilion, hardware replacement, rusted electrical conduit and components, and increasing the rentability of the facility and that Life Trail workout equipment. So, to me.
correct, that was the CI, that would have been PRCA number 3 on page 117, and that's correct. Those 3 items, that $19,000.
And
That's-
see, just to make it balance, I get what y'all are saying, because you had a
We're just
hard-
looking for expenses to get to
Right.
that rollback
Right.
number. And
But
now
my-
these are the things, you're right, we could discuss to say, well, maybe we
Yeah.
don't take that out, John, maybe we come and take this or something like that.
Well, I'm concerned with building another park when we've got one that needs this. Because this is maintenance that needs to happen for our park to be nice. And that's a beautiful park, and we're getting a lot of people that are cruisers going over there and spending time, believe it or not, in this heat even, in between their cruises. And so I want it to look nice, and I'm worried about adding another one when we've got the maintenance to do for this one.
And you're correct, and these are the trade-offs, because you're right, the Rover was on the list to move out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if council said, you know what, let's move Rover out like we expected to, then we would, then we would go in and we could add back things like those upgrades to Manatee Park and whatever, and we could take whatever the difference is, whether it's 60K or 90K, we could then move that around.
Right, I'm just concerned about Manatee Park because that's a beautiful park, and it's our largest park, if I'm not mistaken. Molly, is that our largest one? And so I don't want it, I want Molly to have what she needs for that to be maintained in a nice manner.
And
You
that's
know,
that's doable, because those are the adjustments that could be made to get to that number, so, yeah. And I want to make clarify a point on the Rover Space West. It's not $90,000 that's available, it's $60,000, because if you go to the source of funds on the CIP, look at the bottom, what we were actually doing there is we had some impact fees, that recreation expansion fund that's sitting in our investment. Does everybody see that? That's $30,000. So that wasn't an expense for us. Only the $60K is because we were
Is
going to
for-
use investment in our investment account.
Okay.
So now you got that $60K, and then like what you were saying, if you wanted to add back in, you take out the $60K, but add back in the $19K, now there's $40 more K adjustment, and that's kind of the exercise we go through, but that's what's good about the
Yeah, I
workshop.
just want to make sure that, because you look at some of the things that are on that CIP PRCA 3, we've got kitchen hardware and amenities that definitely makes it more rentable. It needs a new water fountain. I've seen the water fountain. And we've got some conduit and electrical work. We've got those picnic tables, and I've seen them there. Some of them are beyond their really very nice life, let's put it that way. And then I know that Life Trail equipment is aging, so that's what I saw from the memo that you all put out, just covered.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Councilmember Willis.
I think if you remove the 60,000 for the Rover West and put all of these other things back in, it's almost a wash.
It is,
Okay.
it is, yeah.
And I think we get, as Councilmember Jackson was stating, we get a more bang for our buck, even if we add in the batting cages, all of that, it ends up being nearly a wash. And I
That's
think
correct.
I think we stand to be more beneficial to our residents by doing that versus Rover West.
Absolutely, and that's council's discretion. If they want to, if council directs us to, take the 60K out for the Rover, put back in the PRCA CIP cuts, then, yeah, and like you said, that's beneficial for the community.
I would be all for that.
And I want to thank you, Molly, for looking at ways to work with that, because I know that you have done that. I just want Manatee Park to be really nice. And I know everyone enjoys our existing dog park, so we can look at that, push it out a little bit and look at that maybe later. I'm in agreement with Councilmember Willis on that.
So let's summarize that one more time so we all got it. The change would be,
Taking out Rover Park,
okay,
Rover West, the 60,000, you add back in PRCA 3,
Okay.
all of that,
19,000.
which is 39,000.
Right,
Then you add in the batting cages, PRCA 5, which is another 10,100.
get you to 29, yeah,
So that's 49,1, right?
yep.
and Rover was 60.
60, yeah.
And
So-
if you want to take the crossover, like you said, and do the memorial pavers back in, then, that would reduce it, say, another 4. So now you're only 25,000 out of bed in terms of what you may want to add back in.
And I still think we should wait on those memorial pavers, because we're going to need a survey on that.
You
to
know what?
where-
Let me
where
do
we,
it.
what we own.
And a brief correction. You know what? Molly actually did move those out because, excuse me, the pathway and the pavers, because of what's going to be done over there, she did move that out in her CIP that's in your new book. So
Okay.
that has been moved out. So that won't be moved out back in. So that would take you back to about 28.8. So there's actually to get the rollback, we could add 28,800 back in to be at rollback. And we could easily find that based on the cuts that we had.
Okay, great. Council, any other questions? We were just, I think, stopping at the general fund section of the memo. John, do you want to go through the remaining funds? Was that the goal, or?
I don't think that's needed
Okay.
to go through the like enterprise or whatever, no.
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem Kellum.
The park at the C5, that's under the CRA, 500,000? Is that correct? Because I
Yes, let's go to the CRA summary and let me look at that. As soon as I get there.
what page is?
Yeah, that's correct, yeah. CR1, Mayor Pro Tem, that's in the, that would be CRA money.
Right. What I'm wondering is, I've looked at that park. I know that the one big piece of equipment needs to be replaced. But if we said we want to finance out of the CRA 250,000 for that park this year, the remaining of the other 250,000, could we use that somewhere else? Could it go towards the air conditioning on City Hall? Can we use
No.
CRA money for that?
No.
Is there somewhere else we could use?
The CRA is relatively healthy this year, and the CRA could sustain the 500,000 if we want to spend it all in this upcoming year. And we didn't spend a lot of money in the CRA this year. So what's going to happen is there actually will be, we have to re-obligate money in the CRA that's not spent. You have to do that, otherwise you could lose it. So we will do that, and we could have a good number for you probably. I could tell you right now, it's going to be more than $250,000. So in answer to your question, we could still spend the 500K and still have a few 100K even more next year, and sitting there maybe on a PO that where the money could be obligated if we need to. If council wants to go beyond what we want to spend on a presidential street or on the incentive program or the Nancy Hansen renovations, then we will have additional funds there.
I just think that this year, our big emphasis, and I agree with Councilmember Jackson and Don about maintenance, Manatee Park. I think we need to really concentrate on maintenance for these parks. If we could use the money take it out of the general fund, use the CRA for Nancy Hansen. I'm just throwing things out there. And use $250 for the city park to get that. I mean, I think painting and some pressure washing would bring that park up a little bit, and maybe go for grants for that park and try to use the CRA money
Okay.
for other maintenance, I'm just throwing it out there.
Molly, would you want to just comment on the extent of the cost for the park, and then what Mayor Pro Tem is alluding to? What's that?
One turned on?
There it is. It's, I don't know what the delay is.
So, first of all, and John can maybe explain this a little bit better, we are not going to use but a fraction of the CRA money that's been allocated for the concession stand. That project was budgeted at over $300,000 based on the previous intentions of doing a drop-in-place building, removing a bunch of trees, having to remove the current structure. So we're looking at a project now that is not 300 some odd thousand, it's more like 20 to 25. So that money's gonna roll over. Now what you have at Sandpiper Park is playground equipment that is at the end of its serviceable lifespan. We're having a very difficult time finding parts. We've had to adapt and overcome, if you will, for some of the equipment to even remain in place and to be able to be utilized safely due to vandalism, due to the age. And the city didn't even technically pay for that equipment when they did install it because it was installed with grant funding. I did not want to hang my hat on having that replacement cost be dependent on Tallahassee for grants. We are at the end of the lifespan there, and the plan that we have with the equipment that we've priced out and the surfacing, one of the things that'll be an absolute amazing addition for that park, not only in terms of accessibility for our residents, particularly those with mobility challenges, whether it be the kids themselves playing on it or the parents or grandparents that are taking their kids to the park, is pour in place surfacing for underneath the new playground equipment. And it's going to be based on all of the quotes that I've been getting over the years, because this kept getting pushed out. We're going to be needing $500,000. So one of the things that I've discovered, because you don't know what these things cost until you get in this business, like an example that I've talked with Mayor Morrison about before, I didn't know that a commercial Christmas tree could run into the $30,000 to $50,000 range, surprise. Playground equipment for install is almost double. So I could go ahead and get $250,000 worth of equipment, but we wouldn't be able to install it ourselves. We would have to pay for the install. So between the pour in place, which obviously requires professional installation, and having nice new equipment that will last for the 30 years that this existing equipment has lasted, we're going to need that funding.
While you're up there, where are we with the splash pad? And how is that progressing?
We are scheduling the installation of the new equipment within the next week and a half.
All right, Cool.
I-
My only concern is in that, and where I'm headed, is I watched the meeting that I wasn't here, and that was awful, but anyway. And I agreed with Don about trying to find the money for the air conditioning, because I think that is maintenance big time, and if we wait a year for that, how much more is it gonna cost? So what I'm trying to get at is, how can we move things around or try to find that money for the air conditioning?
We'll have to revisit the capital projects that we have, being at rollback rate and moving towards the, the reserve level that the council is looking at. We can, if it does go out, we really have nowhere to go but reserves. And that would put us below the mark that we want to be at for our next audit. So we'll have to have a heartfelt conversation about capital items. Go ahead.
So, based on all that's transpired, you can see, based on the sheet that Joey provided, that we landed at 16.9% with the reserves, as opposed, so we're 0.2 above. What does that equate to, Joey, just approximately?
I'd need to calculate that.
Yeah, and I didn't mean to surprise you with that one. I thought, yeah, that one, but it's not much. Yeah. Yeah. But it's going to be, I don't know, it might be 30, 40,000. I don't know. Anyway, what I was going to say, though, is we have basically, when you look at the general fund, we have actually pretty much taken out everything we possibly could. Now, when it comes to the air, it's not easy to make up, but we have some things that we possibly could do. We do have $16,000 in the resiliency that we could push out a year, in it for a year. That was the, and I'll get it. What's the name of that, Joey? The resiliency thing? What was it?
It's the lighting and it's
The lighting units.
15,000.
So 15,000. So we could push that out. So now all I'm trying to do here is some type of path to cut into maybe not pushing out the air conditioner. There's things that we could consider, but we may not want to do. For instance, CED number 1, the first CIP, $32,000. The Economic Development Action Plan, that could be pushed out a year. So I just came up with 32, 40, I just came up with $47,000 that could cut into what you're saying. And if you were to say, well, how could we fund that air conditioner if we take it out and something happened this year? How would we fund it? Do we have the money to fund it? Yes, we do, but it's a slippery slope, because you have $200,000 in contingency, which part of that is definitely going to be needed during the year for unexpected. We do have $345,000 in renewal and replace, but that's kind of not real either, in the sense that if the air conditioner went out and I said, and it's a renewal and replace item, and I told council, we're taking the money, $325K out of the renewal and replace, we could cover it. The only thing is, there's other renewal and replace items we'll buy during the year, and now I'm down to 45,000, or whatever, with 340, I'm down to 20,000, and now I'm going to have to manage whatever comes my way to fund that in existing general fund revenues, and if that doesn't cover it, then I would have exhausted possibly my contingency and my R&R, and then I'd have to go to an obligated reserve. So it's not impossible to take the air conditioner out, and then if, God forbid, something happens, we could still fund it, but now we're kind of playing with, as long as nothing else happens, which is is unknown, okay? So.
But John, what if we took out to me, the solar array on top of the precinct is important. Is it more important than the air conditioner for?
Well, it is in a sense only because we have a grant, it's grant funded, and we don't want to lose grants. It's like 75% grant funded. So we don't want to lose grants, because if that wasn't grant funded, that would be low hanging fruit. That
Yeah.
would be just, so.
Is
There is a concern, I know there's a concern level over the air conditioner. If you want to know, since we've been in the building, the city's probably spent close to $60,000 for the last 18 to 25, 7 years on the air conditioner because of what's transpired. I mean, air conditioners do have problems, but go ahead.
So I have a question for Molly, so please don't leave, but while he's talking about AC, I'm gonna ask one quick question before I get, I'm sorry. So, Mr. DeLeo, on the AC, is there any reason we can't take and fund half of it this year and half of it next year? Take our chance, of course, we're taking our chance, but that way if something catastrophic did happen to it, we would have half of it funded where it wouldn't be coming out of the R&R.
Well, that would mean that you would, the intent would be to try to do the AC towards the end of the year and only spend half the amount of funds? Is that what you're alluding to?
Well, no, I'm saying that we don't have to redo the AC until we have some kind of probability of an issue.
Right.
We had discussed in the last budget workshop about the fact that you'd do exactly that. If it's still running in December,
Right.
You wouldn't go and replace it necessarily ahead of time.
No.
Okay, so if we split the funding out over 2 years and then waited to look at replacing it in December, then that next year we could have it funded, fully funded. If it failed during the year, half of it would already be funded. The other half would come out of the R&R, not leaving you with a $40,000 balance.
I think you have a question.
But next year wouldn't be until September and October.
Next year,
Well-
next year
Yeah,
is
I was-
October 1st, 2026.
I was using a calendar example of December. It could be September. I mean, it would be September because that's the end of our fiscal year. But regardless, you could wait until that time frame to start planning it.
I could see what you're saying, so let me see if I follow. So what we do is we make adjustments to the budget to stay at rollback, but some way keeping the potential cost of half the air conditioner in the budget. Then if God forbid something happens, we only have to hit the R&R for half of that instead of that's what you're alluding to.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
It's doable. I mean, it's a different approach.
It's creative accounting,
it's-
and it's what people in the real world do a lot
Yeah.
of times, right?
Yeah.
When you're funding for your own home and
So
you've
it's-
got that huge
it's
expense coming up.
It's possible, so what all we would do is we would be adding one, whatever, half of that in, and then we would go back and see where we would,
Well, and see,
I don't know if I could come up with $175,000. I was still, to get the rollback, I still have to take what's equal to the cost of the air conditioner to stay at rollback. So that's $160,000 that I need to find. And I don't know if I could find $160,000 more here because our contingency is already at $200,000.
okay.
And we're really operating
Well, that was one of my questions, and then the next one's for you.
Okay.
Going back to
Make a note.
the park,
Make a note.
Canaveral City Park redevelopment.
Just look at it.
Okay, so on the pour-in-place surface, you were saying with it and the new equipment, we'd be looking at the $500,000.
Make a note.
Can you explain to me what the pour-in-place surface is that would be under the equipment?
Are you familiar with the accessibility park that was done, I believe, in Palm Bay? I think it might be called Field of Dreams.
No.
Okay. Imagine, this is my dream, by the way. Imagine a world without mulch and having to constantly replace mulch. And you still have a surface that a kid can very reasonably, unlike when we were growing up where we could fall on gravel and concrete and still turn out fine. That's not the standard anymore. There's limits, there's cushion factors. The pour in place would take the place of mulch. So it would be a completely smooth surface where there's no bumps in it, there's no edges, there's no mulch, there's no constantly needing to replace mulch. It's just a pour in place rubberized surface that is playground rated for safety, but also has a component where if you are a parent that's wanting to engage with your child on the playground and you have a mobility device, or you're unsteady on your feet, or you have a child that has a mobility device, that it's a safer playing surface and considered ADA.
Okay, so, and how much of the $500,000 do you think that surface would cost?
Could be up to maybe 15 to 20%. But the
Okay.
savings in that is I don't have to replace thousands of dollars worth of mulch there every year.
When I understand that, that makes sense. Now, so 10 to 15% of the 500,000, so we're looking at least 50,000. And on that surface, can it be put into place after the park equipment has been replaced? So the new equipment has gone in, and we put mulch in initially. Can the pour and replace go in after the installation of park equipment, or do you have to do it before?
It's ideally done before instead of retrofitting it like that, because you would have to clear the land again and clear all of that old mulch out of the way and prep the surface and then still pay for the product.
You would still be doing that anyway if you were doing, at any point you did this, you'd have to do that. That's, whether you did it before or after, you would have to prep the surface.
Right.
You'd have to remove the mulch. You'd have to prepare the surface for the install.
And the price will go up as time goes on.
And I understand that, yeah. So really the bulk of this, so how, and I'm not trying to be horsey, but how accurate is an estimate of $450,000 for that little park's equipment?
Accurate.
Okay, have you got bids on it?
We don't do bids, but we do have a quote.
Okay.
And that quote is based on a contract, a piggyback contract.
Okay, and thank you, because that's what I need to know. So, is it replacing the same number of things we have in the park or expanding? Adding more?
Because the equipment that's in there is so old, it's a total uplift. So there's going to be additional pieces of equipment that are not included in the current park layout.
Okay, which makes sense, things change and you get updated
A
equipment.
lot of new designs, a lot more safety conscious, so.
Okay, but, I mean, literally, the surface could be done later, I'm betting.
It could, but at a greater expense.
Okay, that was what I had.
Okay. We're at 5:44 PM. I want to make sure everyone gets a chance to speak here. Mayor Pro Tem Kellum?
I just have one more question.
Okay.
I know that for the Thurm Boulevard, we've cut ARPA funding by $300,000. But on page 103 for the IM project, it says impact fees of $1,200,000, and then the general fund for $200,000. Is there any way we could move that $200,000 towards? Which page is that? 103?
103.
I mean, could we get started with the
Item 9 is the CIP.
impact fees?
Thank you.
Guess that's a Tim question.
Tim, come on up, but this is impact money that's going to support a Thurn Boulevard project that's going to probably run over what, Tim, $3 million in the end?
4 million.
4 million?
We'll run about 4
So those impact fees and that 200K, Mayor Pro Tem, we're going to need every dollar of that. We just don't have any.
Is there any impact fees in the pipeline that are coming, or?
To my knowledge, not in the upcoming year that could be used. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Davis? Councilmember Willis, anything else? Councilmember Jackson? It's a workshop, we're trying to work through it. The things that jumped out to me, and I think the memo was, explained some of it. But if we go to, in the budget book, page, well, do a couple. Let's go to page 12. Which is really breaking down all the expenditures. The increases in, I'm sorry, let's go to page, well, I was looking for personnel services. I got notes on 6. Page 13, the very next page. I apologize. I might have to come back to 12. But like, there were line items that decreased and some increased. And I think you explained like personnel services, but I don't understand some of those, and I think that's what would be helpful for me. So yeah, personnel expenditures in the original was 6.8 million that we received from the proposed budget, but that has went up. It's the 167,000 for those unforeseen calculations based on, I think, part-time and other costs-related. Operating expenditures decreased, capital outlay decreased, debt service stayed the same, transfers decreased, and then yet contingency, total contingency decreased. But if we go to page 6, when I was looking at that breakdown, it looks like the original for the column personnel services on page 6, that first column, totaled in the original budget $4,297,000, and now it's $4,441,000. So that's not doing quick math. Is that the 167,000?
Yeah, that is the 146,000 difference that
sorry.
is in the budget memo.
Okay.
That is exactly that difference.
So, like protective services was at 29,000, but that one actually decreased to 27,000. And I guess that was my confusion. In the memo provided, it shows some of the increases, but protective services decreased.
Off the top of my head, I think that was a new number that HR gave us. Their workers' compensation went down, just about 2,000, I think.
Okay. I see, thank you, and that reflected obviously increases in the total, and then the Parks and Rec obviously was at 1.1 and it's at the 1.2 now, which I think we explained. So total budget on page 6, we had 24,641,000. Now we have 23,342,000. So just under or 1.3 million.
He's looking at the proposed budget that we did here.
Yeah, I was going back to the original, was trying to track the changes, because some went down, some went up, and as I was going through it, some of those didn't make sense. Like fire stayed the same, no change all the way through, but where we would cut some maybe capital projects like infrastructure maintenance reduced, Parks and Rec has reduced, non-departmental reduced, I'm sorry, not non-departmental, the operating expenditures did. But when I saw the capital projects reduce, I saw personnel services go up. And so the resiliency analyst, Joey, I think you had offered to go through some of those changes. If you want to briefly go through those, I think that would be helpful for me. And
Yes.
we're at 552.
Yeah, the resiliency, the part-time resiliency analyst was added into the budget, or not added, was captured into the budget, and that was 34,000. So that difference should be 34,000.
And before it was a lower number, was it 0?
It was not captured.
It's a
So
new
it was 0.
position?
No, it is not new. There are no new positions.
Okay.
What happened was there were some part-time and seasonal. The seasonal were in the Parks and Rec. There were some part-time and seasonal positions that were not captured in the budgeting process.
Tamsin, did you have something?
Thank you.
Mayor, I'm sorry. Can we have Tamsin come to the mic for a
Yes,
moment?
absolutely.
Hi.
Thank you. Hi, Tamsin.
Yeah, thanks for asking. We actually repurposed that position from a part-time building inspector. So I think it was captured elsewhere in the budget before, and then it was moved to resiliency.
Okay.
And then we had a whole-time position that was divided up into 2 part-time positions. One is a admin that we're currently in the process of hiring for, and then the other was our resiliency analyst. So that's I knew that one.
Total full-time positions from last budget and total part-time, do we have that?
Yes. I'm looking for the page number.
I was trying to find it myself. I think it's in
It'd be
the,
general
It's
information.
page 77.
yes? Thank you. So, yeah, we had 68, well, full-time 64 in the budget, the year we're operating out of now. So today, do we have those 64 positions
So do we currently have 64?
full-time? And,
Yeah, for this fiscal year, we have 64. I think what we want to look at, though, is there were a few positions that were added to make that 64. I think wasn't our records position in the city clerk's office added this year? we brought on Chetty this year. Was that actually in our original budget that was shown from last year? And I believe the answer to that might be no, because this would have showed the numbers from, when we ended up the previous year, and during the year, we hired a few positions, one being our records analyst, which, was, we told council in a meeting, that was in our meeting, one of our council meetings, what have you. And was there any other positions? Was there one other position added this year that was not in our budget numbers? Like, I'm trying to recall, Mayor, I'll have to, it's not coming to me, but I know we added a records management person, but I can't remember if we.
Engineer.
For next
The engineer is going to be next year.
Okay.
But I could get that, it's not coming to me, Mayor, but we hired, I don't know if it was did we hire an additional parks person, Molly, this year? So I'll have to just look into that.
And I think I see records technician here. It shows 24, 25, 1, and then this year 1 on page 76. Actually, it's not it's not captured for this year. It looks like an actual decrease from 13 to 12.
Mayor, I have your answer, okay?
Thank you.
The answer is we let our 2 part-timers go and we brought Chetty on. So there was a.
So total for this year is 69.2 total
For the new year, yes.
full-time employees? Okay. The next steps for the budget goes, obviously this is a workshop. I had some more questions. I was out last week away. I think a few of us were and busy. So I think we can circle back and have an opportunity to work through anything. But for the sake of time, I want to pause there, council, and look at the schedule and make sure we're on the same page for the next steps. We have I think the trim notices will be going out next and then we'll have a special meeting on
The first budget meeting on 3 September, yeah.
That's the next time we're going to be
Yes.
here?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
And Mayor, if I could get a chance for just a recap after you're done, I'd like to just say something, 30 seconds, so I could see where we're landing right now.
Yes.
Let me know when.
Before we go there, if anyone intends to speak, please just raise your hand for now so we can know if you'd like to speak. Yes, sir. Go ahead, John.
The only thing I want to recap is that, based on this, and we'll take a look at that, Council Members Jackson's suggestion about the 325 and the other things maybe that we would be able to actually absorb to cut, and then part of the air conditioner potentially could still be in the budget. We will look at that. I think that we can do part of that based on some of the things that Joey and I have here that could be additionally cut. The only last question I have for council is so staff will do the work and show up on September 3rd, the first budget hearing, and will work diligently to land at rollback, again, based on these things that were brought up to adjust the numbers, okay, based on some of the things that council said. So we walk in here showing you how we arrived at rollback. Is that an accurate? I don't see anything else that, anything else we could do but that. So is that a good recap, Mayor, or is there anything else you would?
I'm okay with that. I think that's great. Council, anything else? Let's hear the public comment. Come forward, sir. We are at our budget workshop. If you'd like to speak, please come forward. We're going to adjourn this meeting in just a few minutes, then we're going to start our regular meeting shortly after. And if that's when you intend to speak, we'll certainly make sure you're heard. Thank you. And with that, we are at 6 o'clock on the dot. Let's go ahead and council. Okay, we'll adjourn. Let's take 5 minutes.